Canada inks deal to produce millions of COVID-19 shots domestically. But who wants to defend Trudeau's vaccine plan? This is the Great White North Report. So anyone who's been following the Trudeau government's vaccine plan to dealing with the CCP-Virus knows that back in May 2020, the Trudeau government worked out a deal with Cansino, a Chinese firm, to develop a CCP-Virus or COVID-19 vaccine. However, within days of announcing it, there were already problems with the Chinese Communist Party, and the government was blocking. But instead of announcing it, they kept the truth hidden from the public for months. And now documents were recently tabled by the Trudeau government outlining what happened. Now, Trudeau said that the National Research Council would work with a manufacturer, meaning Cansino. Vaccine trials were successful, we can produce and distribute it here at home. Yet, just days later, the government found out there were problems. The shipment of the vaccine candidacies destined for Canada was being held by the General Administration of Customs of China at Beijing Capital International Airport. Documents tabled in the House of Commons. This is at a time where we're at heightened tensions with the Chinese. And this Trudeau is so naive that he thinks that he can work with individual Chinese company. He is so out of touch with reality, it ain't funny. Wasted months of our time. Then he tried to keep the delay hidden for months and didn't abandon the idea of working with Cansino until August. May, June, July, August. 4 months. Canadians are getting sick and dying, all because he had this naive belief that he could still work with that company. Just because the National Research Council and Cansino go back nearly a decade working on vaccines together. Well, that was before Canada and China had their little political fallout. And there was no way in hell the Communist Party was going to let Canada work with any of their companies. And this is obviously retaliation for the Zhou incident. So even Reuters picked up the story with the Chinese coronavirus vaccine can be tested and manufactured in Canada. Well, first of all, who wants to use a Chinese vaccine? They have a very poor history of domestically produced vaccines. Chinese people don't want to take their vaccines. They basically have to force their citizens to take them. So if that ever came to Canada, I don't want it. And the fact that our Canada's National Research Council is collaborating with them was a mistake. Obviously, it's government, and they're doing it at the government's behest. The Liberal government has a love relationship with China, which isn't reciprocated. That's politics. Instead of having a local pharmaceutical company doing it ourselves, because we do have a microbiology lab in Winnipeg that can handle this kind of stuff. And also we should have been partnering with Pfizer long ago. Back in August, Sam Cooper wrote that we could definitely blame China for our multi-million-dollar coronavirus vaccine deal when it collapsed. They're obviously playing games. They weren't going to allow it in the first place, and the government hid that. Trudeau cost Canadians more lives and more time. Our economy suffered because of Trudeau's naive approach to this. And it was because the Chinese government continued to block shipments of vaccine materials to Canada. They weren't going to allow it. Even though we sank $44 million last March to upgrade production capacity in Montreal in preparation for materials expected from Cansino. So again, why are we not hitting back at China? I have no idea why. Meanwhile, Trudeau goes on record blaming Conservatives for Canada's vaccine manufacturing decline as the health of Canada's biotech industry gets renewed attention. Well, because we outpriced ourselves, and pharmaceutical companies found it cheaper to move overseas. The United States had the same problem. A lot of their pharmaceutical manufacturing base went overseas. They have enough capacity and the know-how to restart it. Trudeau last May could have been restarting that instead of going off on this tangent. Partner with Pfizer, start rebuilding the infrastructure, use what existing companies we still have, and get something done. Then December, we partnered with Moderna. We bought vaccines from Moderna. 168,000 doses of Moderna. So the northern, rural, and remote communities are to get the Moderna shot first. I can attest to that. My cousin, she lives up in Nunavut. She already got her shots. And then we also approved the Pfizer bio. So we're dealing with a whole bunch of different vaccines. Instead of just having one and maybe a backup one, we got like 3 going on here. And then we ordered, in August, placed an order for 20 million doses of Moderna. And then we ordered 20 more. And we could still buy up to 16 million, another 16 million. So that's 56 million people could get vaccinated quickly. Meanwhile, the U.S., especially since the November election, have been doing 1 million people a day. Canada, we haven't even come close to that. Again, we got 249,000 doses of the 2-dose vaccine are expected to be on hand by year's end of the Pfizer one. And then Pfizer tells Canada will not receive any vaccines back in January. So now we're back to square one. Last week, we don't know how many Moderna doses will be delivered and why there are delays. So the vaccine rollout has been slow and chaotic because Trudeau has no credibility. There was a plan A for distributing the COVID vaccines. It just wasn't very effective, and there has been no plan B. And more Canadians are getting sick and dying because of this, because of his incompetence. Relying on a Chinese supply of vaccine that can be manufactured in Canada. Why not do it with an American company and do it here? Do not know why. Plan B was to buy vaccine from Pfizer and Moderna. So where are we now? Canada falls to 20th in the world for vaccine doses administered. Even when accounting for population size, the U.S. has vaccinated more people per capita. We've fallen behind other developed nations in the number of shots administered, as supply disruptions derail planned vaccinations. So we're ranked 20th globally. Well, we're below middle-income countries like Poland and Serbia. We're outpaced by Bahrain, Denmark, Germany, Israel, Italy, Malta, Portugal, Romania, Slovenia, Spain, and the UAE, among others. Though we've given more shots than France and Japan. So we're definitely behind the 8-ball there. So we're definitely behind the 8-ball on that one. And now we ink a deal to produce millions of COVID-19 shots domestically with Novavax. Novavax is the World Health Organization vaccine. Canada put like $450 million into it, and they're allowed to use half that money to get their own vaccine. This is for developing countries. This is for second and third world countries. This is not for a first world country. The only good thing, Novavax is less effective than the Pfizer and Moderna with 89.3%, and will be produced in the Montreal facility that is owned by the National Research Council, Royal Mount facility, which can churn out tens of millions of doses of the product. And it's supposedly effective against the UK variant of the virus, so we'll see. So my question is the same with Conservative leader until why did the Liberal government wait so long to act? When will domestically produced vaccines be available to Canadians, and how will Canadians get vaccines now? I'm also sure I'd rather wait for the Pfizer one, where it's 99% effective. The question goes back to who wants to defend Trudeau's vaccine plan now, and I don't. Trudeau, because of his naive foreign policy, trying to mix politics with health, has cost Canadians thousands of lives and a huge hit to our economy, as well as crippling debt. Any Canadians out there, let me know what you guys think of Trudeau's plan. What could he have done differently? And leave your comments in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe. Until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.